interjection with the ball in hand. Made a bit of a fool out of the very, very good, very experienced and very informed Kevin Nguama.
He did.
To get through him, get through the tackle as well, and score a great finish.
Yeah, no. To me, as dominant the Saints were ultimately in this one, to me, Jack Croft's try was the best one because it was. Oh. It was a piece of individual brilliance, wasn't it? He when he got the ball, he wasn't like he'd been put in space, was it? He still had, as you say, he still had Nguama to beat, and he did him well.
Yeah, a little bit of footwork, a little bit of power, and a little bit of determination, all mixed in to create try. But come on, Tommy Makinson's tightrope walk with the spectacular cartwheel finish.
Oh, we're just used to that now, aren't we?
I don't know.
I'll tell you what. Again,
it was a great pass as well. The whole build up to that try.
It was.
Come on.
I'll tell you what it is. It's you just. We've become. Well, I think I've become slightly blasé about it. I have to say, again, I caught up with this one after the event, and I saw the kind of the still of Makinson getting the ball down, and if you haven't seen the action, it looks like he's being deliberately show off.
Yeah.
Because like Ben Jones Bishop is kind of
behind.
10 metres behind him. The next player's like 5 yards away. And you're like, what's he doing? He could be bringing it round the corner, but obviously when you see it live, it's completely different.
Yeah.
But
get outside Ben Jones Bishop in the first.
It's a spectacular finish, but it's business as usual for making some that, isn't it? It's becoming that way.
Yeah, definitely. Now I think at that stage of the game was still like Makinson's try took it out to 12-6. I think Cook scored from the touchline. Actually, I mean, what a find they've got in him being the goal kicker as well. Took it out to 14-6. So it was an 8-point gap at that stage. It wasn't out of sight by any means at that stage. And actually, the next set ended up with Wakefield forcing an error that got them into position. And then it was with a scrum, and it was the first of many times in this game where Wakefield bombed the situation on the first or second tackle. And if I'm right, this was when Hampshire spilled the ball in what was a fairly routine-looking widespread passing move, and Saints picked it up. I think it was Nguama went pretty much the full length, and then just got hauled down by Ben Jones Bishop, but they found space for Morgan Knowles out wide as he'd filled in on the wing, as all the wingers and outside backs had come in to support the break. He fanned out.
What we're saying is that Knowles will make it into the Great Britain squad instead of Grace on the wing. Is that what we're saying?
Knowles should be in the Great Britain squad. There's no two ways about it. If we'd have managed to find time to put our mid-year dream teams together, and anyone was picking someone else at 13, I would have been kicking him off co-hosting the show. To be honest.
Yeah, he's having a year, isn't he? And but this is the thing, isn't it? They obviously they didn't. I think they picked this up in the commentary. The break was great. It was, they were chased down from behind, but they didn't panic. I think it was Makinson at dummy half, wasn't it? And he knew he needed to get the ball out, and he had to fight to get that ball out. It was not one-handed offload. But as soon as the ball kind of got in Richardson's hands, it was just going through the hands. And as it was, as you say, it was Knowles out wide, but it could have been anybody, couldn't it? Really?
Yeah, and I think that was the point where the game went away from
Wakefield,
without a doubt.
Yeah.
From that point on, I mean, they scored a consolation score at the start of the second half to sort of make people think, oh, well, they came back last week in the second half and nearly nipped it, and they had a good second half against Warrington earlier in the year, but they're playing a different outfit here. And that was actually then when Zeb Taylor took over and probably had about 100 of his 150 or so metres in the next 20 minutes, and then went off and had a break for the last 5-10 minutes. He
had to sit down, didn't he?
He was brilliant from that point on. And what this game showed, as much as any other game we've seen, like we've seen St Helens games where their left edge has done all the scoring, or St Helens games where their right edge has done all the scoring. This game, one edge did it, then the other edge did it, then it went back to the other edge. They're just very good. They're just very good.
Yes, they are.
And it doesn't matter who's playing
annoyingly
either.
good.
How seamlessly did Danny Richardson fit back into the side, and the way Lachlan Coote and Johnny Lomax are playing kind of means that it is easy for Richardson to come back into this side, because there's other people already scheming and controlling. You've got Roby, who's the most consistent player on the pitch anyway, and you've got Walmsley, who didn't even need to come back on in the second half. It did all the damage he needed to, really, in that first half. You had Luke Thompson back in the side, but they didn't have to overplay him either, because the forwards weren't really needed in the second half, because there was just... They just made... This is so easily transition defence into attack. Whenever Wakefield made first or second tackle errors, which they did a lot in that second half in particular, when they were, it was a cup game, they were pushing it.
Yeah.
They were pushing it. The one thing from Wakefield's perspective, now at Magic Weekend, I talked about this on the Magic Weekend show. I was sat just in front of where the coaches were sat. And up with the Wakefield coaches for their game was Danny Brough, with his left hand in a very robust-looking cast. Not in a sling anymore or anything like that, but very sturdy-looking cast on his left hand. And if you watch some of the attempted tackles, the Zeb Taylor try was a shining example of it, really. But if you watch some of his attempted tackles... Or was it the Mark Percival try where Zeb Taylor broke through and then... I'm not sure. Either way, all the tries that came through the left ended up with... If a player ran at Danny Brough's left-hand side, he didn't even attempt to tackle because he didn't want to hurt his hand. So he was playing prohibited. Now, I wonder if it was the right decision or not. But he did set up the Tyler Randall try with a beautiful, beautiful kick. Let's not take that away from Danny Brough. But I wonder if it was the right call, because he wasn't right for this game, fitness-wise. Not at all right.
No, I mean, I think...
He was scared to tackle.
He was, yeah, and you could tell he was hampered down that side, and yeah, it's this kind, as you say, it's a tricky decision. Obviously, they're beset with injuries elsewhere, so yeah, I can understand why he decided to play.
He wouldn't have said, "Don't play me."
No. But yeah, as I think he said on the commentary, I think he'd only had the wires taken out a couple of days before, and yeah, I'm a bit. Yeah, if it was a regular league game, I don't think he'd have played. So
no, and I think, and I don't think many people in that Wakefield side actually came out with a ton of credit. Jack Croft had that great moment early on. He's a young player; he's not going to be consistent throughout the 80 minutes. Reece Lynn, still the best right centre for me along with Nguama. Nguama's definitely actually earned that title probably right now, but Reece Lynn most consistently so far this season. Great right centre in this league, but just not good enough on the day. This Wakefield side and Saints were way too good. Yeah. Now, I
have to say just a quick word for Walmsley's offload to Knowles through the middle, which was just I love a forward offloading like that near the line.
It's Knowles' try.
It looks beautiful.
Was it for?
The offload was to Knowles. I can't remember now which way around it was, but anyway, the offload was sensational. It was just beautiful. A thing of absolute beauty.
I can't remember which try that was for, but they're just too good, aren't they?
They're too good. This is the thing that they probably played it about. Because I have to say, for the first kind of 10-15 minutes of the second half, Trin were the dominant side, but they never looked like. And they did score, as you said, through Randall, and that was a good try.
But it was from a kick. That's how good this Saints team defend.
Yeah, they never looked like scoring anything like enough points to get to 20s even. So yeah, they were always going to come up short, unfortunately, against the dominant team in the league at the moment, unfortunately.
Oh, it didn't score. This was the break that had the Ryan Hampshire Simbin in. The Walmsley pass.
Oh yes.
To Knowles.
Yeah, I've got to say, I thought Hampshire was a bit unlucky with that yellow. I kind of understand why he thought he might be able to pinch the ball, because Brough had just fallen off, or was just in the process of falling off the tackle. So I kind of understand why he went for it, and kind of a bit of a needs must. We busted up and they're going to score anyway type thing.
Yeah.
But yeah. yeah, unfortunately, it was delaying the inevitable.
Yeah, definitely. Well done to St Helens. They romped home. Last of the quarterfinals, then, Alan. What happened at Odsal?
What happened? Our big day. I got a pants pulled down by a big lad. It finished Bradford 16, Halifax 20. It was 6-0 to Bradford at half time. There were 6,591, biggest crowd of the weekend.
Yeah, well done to Bradford and Halifax for that. Obviously, a very hotly contested local derby, but
yeah,
the fatigue factor hasn't set in because they've played each other twice in the last 5 weeks, haven't they?
Well, yeah. Well, we played each other Good Friday. We've played each other at Magic and then at Summer Bash, and then we played each other here. So yeah, and we'd both lost the week before. So don't give me this crap about can't be bothered turning up. Fans actually turned up for this one. But anyway, Scott Michalauskas was the man in charge. So we had a few people get in touch on this one. I'll start with Tom's. First Ruiz beats Joshua, then Scott Morrell beats the Bulls. What a week for the big bone lads. I love it when the underdogs beat the shithousers. I wonder if Flanagan regrets screaming in Morrell's face. Well, Flanagan does that every week, so that's just the way that he is. That's just something you've got to accept.
I missed this. What's this?
Well, I don't know. I haven't watched it back because I never do. I was obviously there, and I never watched it back, so I don't actually know what he did. But Flanagan's always a wind-up merchant. That's what he specialises in. So he's bound to. That's just what he does. So.
Fair enough. PAB 1976. A great game. Congratulations to Halifax on the win.
Yeah, I have to say, I thought it was a great game, even though we were on the wrong side of it. But we'll talk about that in a minute. And finally on this one, Paul Chamberlain says, first time I've seen a fridge with legs win a rugby league game. Fridge with legs. Man Alive Odsal is a dump. No, it's not. If the RFL has a carrying value of more than £0 on that hole, they need a HMRC investigation. It's not that bad.
I've talked about my love for Odsal over the years, so yeah, Odsal's it holds some fond memories for me from my earlier years of going to support Wigan when Bradford and Wigan was a big game.
Yeah, it's not the best ground in the world, but it's better than a lot of the current Super League grounds, and I'll stand by that quote. Any of you five towns come at me. But yeah, no, it was. This was a frustrating bloody game. It was backwards and forwards. I completely agree with Paul. It was the best game of the weekend for me, even though we lost. So, go on.
I fell asleep in the first half.
Well, Mark cannot comment on this game whatsoever.
I fell asleep watching the first half, and then after the game, and I did watch the full second half cognizantly, but after the game, I saw like a super hyping it up tweet from Mick Gledhill, and I was like, what the fuck was he watching? This was not the most heart-stopping match ever performed or whatever. It was two sides that were clearly championship sides scratching away, neither of them really doing outright. Most of the scores coming off the other team's mistakes. I just saw a totally different game. I do get that there's tension and drama in it, and I love that aspect of it. Yeah. So I'll give you that. But it didn't feel like there was much tension and drama for the first hour, to be honest.
Okay, right. Let me qualify that. Okay, so quality might not have been as you might hope it would be, but it was what made it an interesting watch for me in the stands was the backers and forwards of it. The number of lead changes and the kind of the backers and forwards we had as a fan base in terms of them celebrating, then us celebrating, then them celebrating, and then us, and then backers and forwards. So from that point of view, that was really good. The one thing I wanted to pick out, it's interesting you talk about tries from mistakes, because I definitely think that was the case for Bradford.
Oh yeah,
we scored from their mistakes. I wouldn't say that about Halifax.
Fair shout,
I think they cut us apart 4 times in the second half with moves that they threatened to do while you were asleep, because it was when I was chatting away and I was saying they were in the first half. They were doing that. They were kind of making breaks up the middle